All right, hello everyone, and welcome to my channel. Thanks for tuning in today. This is an educational channel. We try to challenge you with great theories, discoveries, and concepts that maybe you're not familiar with because they've been suppressed and they're out of your purview. The powers that be don't want you to know about these certain things. And this is just a segment that's called Your Blind Side, where we just muse over um, different aspects that I stumble across in my daily life that have to do with the InfoWar. Uh, now, the InfoWar has been raging here for the last 10 years. Um, Prior to that, it was dormant, going on, but dormant. It was pretty much just, from my perspective, it was just an attack on me at the time because I was the only person that I knew that was, not the only, but just about the only person that I knew that was aware of, you know, many of the things that we are becoming aware of now, many of the things that the 17th letter has, uh, taught the public about, um, or at least a segment of the public about. These are things that I knew about already, and you know, I paid for it, um, with my reputation and my status as a sane person and um, you know, of not being a nutcase. So, um, so I've been watching this for a long time, and I feel like I'm one of the few people who actually is really not on either side. I have a preference for one side over the other, but I don't consider myself to be on either side. Um, because neither side will accept me, more or less. Neither side will vouch for me. For one side I'm a nutcase, and for the other side I'm some type of um you know atheist communist, which is a bazillion miles from the truth in both cases. But anyway, um that's kind of what I see out there is, obviously, we just had this incident where there was another so-called shooting that occurred at some ice rink. And another very mentally ill individual um is, the person that appears to have done it, and is no longer with us. But this is what you would call, just a blatant mental illness, where a person is not in touch with reality, and they want you to participate in their reality, and give credit to their reality, and even congratulate them for being in a false reality. And finally there are people that are kind of fighting back and pushing back against this, that this is just you know these this person is a danger to everybody, and a danger to themselves, because of their um, delusions and their willingness to resort to violence to enforce their delusions on the rest of us. Um, Now, however, the other side suffers from the exact same problem, but it's just much more minor. It's just it's the difference between a major mental illness and a minor mental illness. The other side is just as delusional, uh, believes in just as much of a fantasy world, but it would be what you would call, something like a high functioning mental illness. They can still um, um, they, they can still get through their day and not be a danger to other people so much, maybe a little bit, but not very much. Um, but they're still, you know, they're still leaving their traces of their delusion all over the place with, you know, their false belief systems, which are, have no evidence connecting to them, no, uh, y- you know, um, nothing that anybody who is pursuing the truth can countenance as being legitimate. If I'm obviously talking about, the religious folks out there, the uh, people that believe in the book, whichever book you're talking about, whether it's the scientific book or the religious books. Um, these are also instruments of mind control and long-standing instruments of oppression on all of us. And but generally scoff them. We generally scoff off at any type of criticism because these are the word of God, and if you don't believe in it, then you're an infidel or a heretic or a Satanist. And so, it's not something that is a direct, I mean, sometimes it does flare up into the Salem witch trials, or, you know, I am finding out, King James was um, a huge witch burner back in the day, even before he became the King of England. He was actually the King of Scotland. He became the King of Scotland when he was an infant. And so he was the King of Scotland, known as, I believe he was known as James the Sixth, for 30 years before he became the King of England, as well as the King of Scotland. But in the meantime, he had been um, sparring with a lot of these so-called witches, and he wrote an entire book on like demonology, um, or witchology, um, before he, put together the King James version. So it's embedded right in there, and the hysteria of just anything that you don't like, you just blame it on Satan, or anything that goes against what you're, you know, Satan in the Old Testament of the Bible, Hasatan, that is the adversary. It is not a person, and it's not an entity. It is a function, of an adversary. And then when the New Testament comes along, they personify it. But it's really the major personifications of it have occurred through art and literature since then by the Roman Catholic Church, Dante, Milton, now Hollywood, but before that, obviously King James and the witch burners were there. So, it can get dangerous as well. But right now, it's a minor mental illness that, I'm rooting for you guys to win, but I'm not in one of your number, um, and nor do you want me to be in one of your number. Okay, thanks for tuning in. Remember to watch your blind side.